President Trump's plane, as you saw, just touched down at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. It's about 30 minutes or so, maybe a little less of a drive to the Fulton County lockup there. Process goes property intake, physically searched, body scanner, medical screening, fingerprints taken, mugshot, checking for outstanding warrants. That is for your typical defendant. Obviously, the former president of the United States is anything but typical. Joining us now, Erick Erickson, radio show host and author of The Biden Strategy, Blame the Judges, author of one of the most insightful, if not the most insightful, political note on the planet that you can receive in your email inbox. It's good to see you, Erick, as always. Look, President Trump got to choose the time and the manner. He chose prime time exactly 24 hours after the Republican debate. And what I'm realizing is that 24 hours after the Republican debate, no one's talking about the Republican debate. All they're talking about is Donald Trump, which Donald Trump has learned over the past 8 years is good for him politically.
Oh, it's actually a brilliant strategy. He tried the Tucker Carlson interview, which actually fell very flat. No references to it, despite supposed astronomical views on Twitter. But now this, everybody's talking about this. The debate was given less than 24 hours of coverage, 12 hours of coverage at most, really, when people got up this morning. And now we get to talk about Donald Trump, exactly what he likes. It's a very smart strategy.
There's two courts here, right? And you're a lawyer, you're an election lawyer by trade from Atlanta. So we're going to get into the law here in a minute. But there's the court of public opinion that you've got the left and the right. The left is going to believe Donald Trump's guilty of anything. It doesn't matter. The right's going to believe he's a persecuted man, the far right. But there's this group in the middle who may not like Donald Trump, but like what is being done to him even less. And there is a bar beyond reasonable doubt, right? But then there's a bar of this is not a politically motivated prosecution. Has Fani Willis met that as Donald Trump heads off to turn himself in on her charges?
No, keep in mind, one of the people she was investigating in this whole thing is Georgia's lieutenant governor, and she was had to stop investigating him because she tried to fundraise off of that. She's on the ballot next year. She has campaigned with fundraisers about election integrity, subtly veiled at this. So, no, I don't think so. Now, Democrats can say, well, this is justice and justice be done. But you've got the Jack Smith case that largely involves the same set of circumstances in a federal court in Washington, D.C. This just seems to be a pile-on, particularly when you have 17 defendants and you're using Georgia's notoriously wide-ranging RICO law to go after him.
Put all of that together. And by virtue of the fact that we're all talking about this, we're not talking about, nor could any of us find a singular moment from last night's debate that you go, aha, that is the thing. That was the moment that the Republican nomination fight turned. Barring some major change, and indictments don't seem to be up to that bar, Donald Trump's still the de facto nominee of the Republican Party, is he not?
Yes. An odd thing happened last night. There were rumors that Fox News would play clips of Donald Trump and have the candidates respond. They didn't do that. The candidates got to talk. They largely avoided Donald Trump. It felt like a semblance of normalcy pre-Trump. Now suddenly we're back to talking about him. He thrives on that attention. The media, by and large, is in a sick symbiotic relationship with him. MSNBC barely covered the debates, for example. They've covered the indictment all day. Guess what? Their ratings went up with their viewers. Donald Trump thrives on the media's coverage. The media ratings thrive on covering Donald Trump. So there's no end to the cycle until we ignore him.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.